Teachers and science advocates are voicing skepticism about a Maine proposal to update standards to incorporate teaching about genocide, eugenics, and the Holocaust into middle school science education. They argue teachers need more training before introducing such subjects that are both sensitive and nuanced. Critics of the proposed updates said they are born of good intentions. However, injecting the materials into a middle school science curriculum could distract from conventional scientific principles and could jeopardize science education. Others say the state needs to first ensure its teachers are equipped to teach the topic.